Welcome to People, Power, and Politics. Hard talk, riveting interviews, community updates, in-depth analysis. That's People, Power, and Politics. We tell it to you as it is. No holds barred. You are the people, you have the power. We bring you the politics. To listen to our show, be a guest, or to advertise, visit www.pppradio.nyc. That's www.pppradio.nyc.
You are listening to People, Power, and Politics, where we bring you conversations that matter, voices that lead, and stories that shape our communities. I am your host, Pearl Phillip. Today we are joined by Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso. As he wraps up his first term in office, we are taking a look back at the highs, the challenges, and the lessons learned. We'll also talk about what's next, what a second term could look like, and how he plans to continue serving the people of Brooklyn, one of the most dynamic boroughs in the country. Welcome, President Reynoso. Always a pleasure to have you on People, Power, and Politics.
Happy to be here, Pearl. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so very welcome. So, looking back on your first term, what accomplishment are you most proud of, and why does it stand out to you?
So the accomplishment that I'm most proud of, it has to be the maternal health work that we did. You know, a long time ago, I set out to make Brooklyn the safest place in all of New York City for all women to have babies, but specifically to start dealing with the inequity in child maternal health of Black women. And we were able to do that. We gave the $45 million in our first year to the 3 public hospitals in Brooklyn. And because of that, the infrastructure is going to be amazing. We're going to have world-renowned maternal or women's units in these spaces. So that's one of my greatest accomplishments. The other one that I would say is really turning a tanker here in Borough Hall and moving it from like a performative office that was mostly focused on throwing parties and throwing events and celebrations into one that's knee-deep in service. And one example of a service component that we were able to do was getting almost 6,000 migrants' work authorizations done in our office. So we have people that came to this country because they were struggling or because they were running away from war or natural disasters. And they came to New York to make homes, and they couldn't work for more than 6 months, in some cases 2 years, because they didn't have work authorization. Our office opened up a work authorization office inside the same space that was traditionally used to throw parties. And now what we have is 6,000 people that are going to be able to begin their life here in Brooklyn, work, which is what they originally wanted to do, and contribute in an amazing way. So those are 2 accomplishments that I'm really proud of.
Excellent. So Brooklyn has faced numerous challenges over the past few years, from housing affordability to public safety. What do you think were your most effective strategies in tackling these issues?
Well, with housing, it's about doing more. I keep letting folks know about, there's only 2 cities so far that we have in this entire country that have lowered rents for their constituents. That's Minneapolis and Austin, Texas. And in those 2 locations, they did something very simple. They built more housing than anywhere else. Right now in Austin, they built 50,000 units of housing in 2 years. And because of that, rents went down. If we were to do the equivalent, it would make it so that we would have to build 400,000 units of housing here in New York. And we're nowhere near that. We built 60,000 units. So what we have here is a vacancy issue. We have more people looking for housing than we have apartments available. So we need to build. And it's not only affordable housing, it's all types of housing, including affordable housing, but all types of housing. We just need to build in this city so we can start making it so that landlords are fighting for tenants versus tenants fighting for apartments. So that's one way I'm dealing with that. And then public safety, it is a huge issue in our district. And I think that we moved away for a while from giving people opportunities. So what we saw from the mayor's office, Pearl, was cuts to education, cuts to childcare, cuts to mental health services. And then we wonder how crime spikes or people with mental health issues are out in the public. So I would say that what we're trying to do is bring back those types of programs so that we can start dealing with root issues on why people turn to crime. And this mayor didn't focus on that, but I did in Brooklyn. And I'm hoping, and not only hoping, we've noticed Brooklyn is the safest it's ever been in its history. You can ask the Brooklyn DA, Eric Gonzalez, who's been very clear about that. So we're the safest we've ever been. And I think a lot of it has to do with the resources that we're providing for people in need.
Okay. So what has been the most surprising or unexpected lesson you've learned during your time as borough president?
I'll tell you this. I knew the borough was big, but it is beyond what anybody can imagine. Not only is it a physical space that's big, but it's also every single stop is a new community. Every single stop. It doesn't, you could be in Little Jamaica in one stop, and then another stop you're in Chinatown, and then another stop you're in Italian areas, and another stop you're in Greek areas. It's just so much diversity. And we speak over 200 languages in Brooklyn. So you have to think there's 200 individual constituencies that you could try to meet up with. I talked to the borough president of the Bronx, which only has 8 community boards, and I have 18 community boards. And she asks me all the time how I do it. And I tell her, I'm trying to move as much as I possibly can, but the vastness of the size of Brooklyn and its diversity is something that I knew it was big, but how big it was a surprise to me. But it's been a joy moving through this entire borough and getting to know so many different cultures and people. And if I haven't seen you yet, I'll be in a restaurant or a place of worship or where you play in no time. But it's been something that was surprising to me.
Well, that's what makes Brooklyn so special.
Yeah, it does. It's amazing.
So have you worked with other city and state officials to get things done for Brooklyn? And what would you like to see improved in those relationships moving forward?
Yeah, well, I'd like to talk about an initiative we just took on. We're doing deed theft workshops. Right now, especially in central Brooklyn, like Bed-Stuy, we have a bunch of folks that are losing their homes to unscrupulous, like characters that are criminals. They're taking people's homes that they worked very hard for. And we're working alongside Councilmember Chiosei and Councilmember Farrah Lewis, that are the heads of the Brooklyn delegation, and Councilmember Sandy Nurse and Mercedes Narcisse, that are helping pass legislation for this issue. But those council members, we've been working together, and we're looking for $5 million in an initiative to combat deed theft in the city of New York and its budget for this year. So we're asking the mayor and the speaker to contribute $5 million. It's a drop in the bucket of the overall budget, would mean the world for these folks that are looking for legal representation and just assistance to keep their homes or to get their homes back if they lost them.
Okay, and I know the State Attorney General, Letitia James, she has passed legislation making it a crime. Deed theft is now a crime.
It was not a crime just a year ago, so we're grateful to Attorney General Letitia James for that.
I spoke to her on that issue.
Yes.
So, if elected for a second term, what would be your top 3 priorities for the borough, and how would you plan to achieve them?
We got more work to do on housing, and we're trying to figure it out. I know the mayor has a charter revision commission that is in place right now that is thinking about how we do ULURP, which is a land use process in the city of New York, to see if we can make it easier to build more in a responsible way. But housing is going to be a big issue that we're going to be taking on. Education is something we're starting to work on more aggressively, especially D75 students that tend to have they're neurodivergent, so they're kids in the autism spectrum or ICT or individualized classrooms. We're trying to see if we can make it so that every single classroom in Brooklyn that is that has a District 75 student has like a sensory gym, for example, and that no parent in Brooklyn that has one of those kids that are looking to go to school, they don't need to worry what school it is. It'll have a state-of-the-art sensory gym. Those are the type of things we're doing. But education and more housing is definitely something we're focused on. And then arts ambassador work. So we want to show the richness and the greatness of artists in Brooklyn. And there's a lot of emerging artists that just need a little bit of help. So we're starting a process of introducing them to mentors, giving them grants, and really starting to support them and give them a space in Borough Hall to be able to grow and hopefully make money as artists and thrive. A lot of people, there's so much creativity here in this borough, and we want to make sure that we support it.
Definitely. So Brooklyn is always evolving. How do you envision the borough 5 years from now? And what role do you see yourself playing in shaping that future?
In 5 years from now, wow. So
you want to go 4, 3?
No, look, I think that this borough is the center of the universe. It truly is. And I think the work that we need to do here is about reintroducing ourselves to a diverse group of people like the borough, we saw that New York City actually had the largest population of people coming in back to New York last year. So we have almost 84,000, I think was the number of new people coming to New York. And I really want to make Brooklyn the central place where people want to come. But we can't do it if it's not affordable. So I actually think in the next 5 years, somewhere in between that, there's going to be an explosion of housing development that happens, like 200,000 units in a year. By the next mayor, by Eric, if he stays mayor, whoever it is, there's going to be an explosion. Someone's going to finally unlock the floodgates and really allow for development to happen in a mass way. And I think that happens in the next 5 years. That's a goal. Because if we build, let's say, of that 60,000 units, that's 60,000 new people in Brooklyn that get to celebrate and enjoy where we are. But also, those units make it so that they're not coming into neighborhoods that already are here and established. And we do less gentrification. We have less people trying to kick Ms. Johnson out of her home because they have their spaces, because we built a ton of them. So that's something that I think is going to happen, that people are going to be surprised by, that we build more housing in the next couple of years.
Okay, so this was not, this is off the cuff right now.
Let's go.
I know that you love basketball.
I do.
So how about the New York Knicks? You want to say something on that?
Listen, I'm very excited for New York. And I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. So I love the Nets, but I also love the Knicks. You can't be in New York and not love the Knicks, right? The Brooklyn Nets are an emerging team, and we're very happy for them. But the Knicks, what they're doing is so New York. They're very gritty. No one would say we have an A+ star. We've got a bunch of hardworking, hard-nosed people that are just trying to make it happen against all odds. And here we are, 4 games away from a championship. 8 games
going
away
to
from winning
the finals.
There you go. So we're 4 games from getting to the finals and 8 games away from winning the championship. And I couldn't be prouder of them. And I want to say that winning it is important, but it's not everything. They've already made us very proud. And New York is going crazy.
I know.
I always tell people, the Yankees and the Mets, the New York Islanders and the Rangers, we have the Jets and the Giants. There's always 2 teams in New York. But for a long time, the Knicks were the only team. So 90% of New York is our own Knicks fans, and they're losing their minds collectively. And I'm happy for it. And New York needs that. I'm just proud of overall the Mets, the Yankees. Like, we have good teams playing out here. And it feels in New York, if we're doing good, our sports teams are doing good, we're doing good. So I'm very excited for New York.
All right, good. Well, the women team just won the championship after 25 years. So hopefully the Knicks can bring that. I want a national. I want a holiday.
Look, I think New York Liberty is a class all by itself. And I'm really excited about the dynasty that they can get, because they got amazing players, and they already did a great job and had a high viewing first game. So New York is always showing up. They sell out the Barclays constantly. So you're right. The women always hold us down. Maybe the men could finally show up, but it's been fun. It's been fun. So go Knicks. Yeah, let's go Knicks. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So that was Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso reflecting on his first term and sharing his vision for the future. As always, here on People, Power and Politics, we are committed to keeping you informed and connected to the leaders shaping your neighborhoods. Any final words, sir?
No, just spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.
It's the Brooklyn way. I am Pearl Phillip. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, stay engaged, stay informed, and keep using your power for change. Thank you so much, sir. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
People, Power and Politics. Hard talk, riveting interviews, community updates, in-depth analysis. That's People, Power and Politics. We tell it to you as it is. No holds barred. You are the people, you have the power. We bring you the politics. To listen to our show, be a guest, or to advertise, visit www.pppradio.nyc. That's www.pppradio.nyc.